Jack Wren didn't plan to crash land on a forbidden moon that day. He was just a scavenger flying a half-broken human cargo ship named Dustwalker through the edge of Eularian space. He was low on fuel, hungry, and carrying 3 stolen engine coils wrapped in old blankets. He had no idea he was about to find a royal secret the whole galaxy wanted buried. The storm came fast. A lightning strike hit his side thrusters, and the ship spun out of control. He fought the steering, cursed at every button, but the ship still went down, slamming into the rocky surface of an unmarked moon. Smoke filled the cabin, metal groaned, and Jack coughed as he crawled out into the cold alien air. The place was dead. No cities, no signals, just wind, strange trees, and gray mountains in the distance. But something beeped on his scanner's strong energy signal just a few clicks away. Jack didn't hesitate. If it was tech, he could sell it. If it was a weapon, even better. He followed the signal across rocks and dust. Then he saw it, a strange silver structure half buried under stone. Like an egg, it was cracked, glowing from inside, with alien symbols burned onto the surface. He pulled out his cutter tool and sliced through the lock plate. With a hiss, the pod opened. Smoke escaped first. Then, a girl. She lay inside, unmoving arms bound with golden cuffs, blue skin pale and glowing faintly. Long silver hair spread like silk across the inner wall of the pod. She looked young, maybe early 20s by human standards. Her clothes were royal, elegant, but torn in places. Jack stepped back. "Whoa," he muttered. "What the hell is this?" Suddenly, her eyes opened, bright violet, full of fear and fire. She stared at him and spoke softly. "Did they send you to kill me too?" Jack blinked. "What?" "No, I'm a scavenger. I just followed a beacon." She sat up slowly, wincing, trying to move her hands. But the cuffs tightened with a mechanical click. She groaned in pain and leaned back against the pod wall. Jack stepped closer. "Are you hurt?" "I've been trapped in this pod for 12 days, she said quietly. "I've had no food, only medical gas keeping me alive." "Why?" "Who locked you in here?" Her eyes narrowed. "My own people," she said bitterly. "I am Princess Elira of House Senthra, first blood of the Ilarian Empire." Jack's mouth opened slowly. "You're a princess?" "Yes," she said. "Or I was." He looked around nervously. "Someone finds me here with you, I'm dead meat." Her expression didn't change. "They already think you're with me. Scavenger, there's no going back now." Jack stared at her glowing cuffs, then at her weak body. He pulled a tool from his belt. "Hold still," he said. "I'll try to unlock those." She flinched slightly, then nodded. As he worked, she asked, "Why are you helping me?" Jack didn't answer at first. Then he said, "'Cause I don't like the way they left you here like trash." The cuffs clicked open, and she gasped as blood returned to her hands. She rubbed her wrists, looked at him carefully. "You're different from the others," she whispered. Jack stood up. "You gonna kill me now? Royal rage or something?" Elira gave a tired smile. "No, human. I think I need you." He raised an eyebrow. "That's a first." She tried to stand but stumbled. "'Kay," and Jack caught her before she hit the ground. "You're still weak," he said. "You need food and rest." "I need safety," she replied, "and soon I'll need something else." "What?" She didn't answer. Instead, she looked up at the stars above the trees and said, "They think I'm dead. And if I stay with you, they'll know I'm not." Jack frowned. "So what do we do?" She looked straight at him and said softly, "We do something crazy." "Like what?" Her voice was low, trembling, but full of purpose. "You take me as your wife." Jack choked. What?" Elira smiled faintly. "You heard me? You're serious?" "I don't joke about survival," she said. "If I don't bond myself by the next cycle, they'll legally erase my name, my title, my life." Jack scratched his head, looked up at the stars. Then, down at the glowing cuffs he'd just removed. He had crash-landed, risked his neck for loot, and now? Somehow, he was standing beside an alien princess who'd just proposed marriage, and he hadn't even had breakfast yet. Jack Wren had saved lives before, but this time, it might cost him his own. The moment he helped Princess Alira escape that royal pod. His fate changed. He wasn't just a scavenger anymore. Now, he was a wanted man with a royal fugitive by his side. They escaped the moon before a patrol arrived. Jack's ship, Dustwalker, rattled and groaned, barely holding together Alira. Sat in the co-pilot seat, silent, staring out the window, her face pale but calm. Jack checked the nav screen and cursed under his breath. His face, and hers, were plastered across every outlaw channel in the system. Wanted, human abductor, and Eularian traitor. Charges: kidnapping, assault, violation of interstellar law. Reward: 500,000 credits, live only. Jack blinked. I didn't kidnap anyone, he muttered. You got in my ship. Alira tilted her head. They'll never believe that. Yeah, no kidding. The tension inside the ship was thick. Jack tried to stay focused, flying low, changing course every few hours, switching ID beacons, but it wasn't enough. Everyone was watching for them now. At a dusty refueling station on a drifting asteroid, they stopped for supplies. Jack wore a hood. Alira wrapped herself in an old cargo blanket to hide her glowing skin. They walked quietly, trying not to draw attention. Inside, a merchant leaned over the counter and stared too long at Alira's face. Jack gently pushed her behind him. Fuel and rations. That's it, he said quickly. You're not from around here, the merchant said slowly. Just passing through, Jack replied. Placing credits on the table, the merchant narrowed his eyes. I've seen a face like hers. On the bounty boards, Jack's jaw tightened. And you're seeing mine now, he said, leaning forward. You're gonna make this a problem? The merchant looked at the credits, then at Jack's scarred hands. He picked up the payment and said, Fuels in Bay 4. Traveler. Jack nodded once and walked out, pulling Alira with him, back in the ship. Alira turned to him. You risked your life for me again, he shrugged. Well, you're kind of hard to leave behind now. Later, as they drifted in a quiet space lane, Jack finally asked the question that had been burning in his head. Why do they want you dead so badly? He asked, I get politics and all, but you're their princess. Alira sat down slowly, her hands folded in her lap. In the Eularian Empire, royal blood must be bonded by choice before their 25th cycle, she began. If we aren't married by then, our titles and powers return to the royal council. Jack frowned. So, you lose your power if you stay single. Yes, she said. And the lords want that. If I disappear or die before my bonding cycle ends, they keep everything. So, they locked you in a pod, floating in the dark, hoping no one would find you. Alira nodded. They nearly succeeded. Jack leaned back in his seat, whistling, and now. You want to marry me, so you stay alive. Alira met his gaze, her voice steady. Yes. Jack shook his head slowly. I'm a junk pilot. Not some noble warrior or royal knight. You treated me like a person, she said softly. Not a symbol, not a prize. He looked away, trying to hide the strange warmth rising in his chest. You know, people usually go on dates before proposing. She tilted her head, confused. Dates. You mean fruit? Jack laughed out loud for the first time in days. No, not fruit. Never mind. The ship's alarm beeped. Jack jumped to the console and scanned the radar. 2 ships coming fast. He said Eularian patrols. Alira stood beside him. Her hands clenched. They must have traced our fuel trail. Jack cursed, flipping switches. Hang on, we're jumping. They shot into hyperlight. Stars stretching past the ship like lines of white fire. The ship shook violently. sparks flying from one of the rear vents. Jack slammed the controls. "Come on, baby, don't die now." After a few seconds, the shaking stopped. The stars calmed. They had escaped. Again. But Jack's hands were shaking. Alira touched his shoulder. "You're afraid? I'm smart," he said, breathing hard. "There's a difference." She smiled slightly. "You're brave too." Later, as the ship drifted in deep space to cool its engines, Alira sat beside Jack in the dark, both staring out at the stars. "You know," he said quietly, "you're asking me to change my whole life, Alira." She looked at him with serious eyes. "I already changed mine. The moment I stepped into your ship," Jack didn't speak for a long time. Then, with a small sigh, he whispered, "If we're doing this, I need to understand one thing." Alira turned toward him. "What is it? What exactly happens during a royal bonding?" Her cheeks darkened just slightly. She leaned closer, her voice soft as wind. "You'll find out, human, if you survive it." Jack Wren had seen strange things in the galaxy before space whales. Lava storms, a talking vending machine once, but nothing prepared him for the words that came out of the alien princess's mouth that night. "A royal bonding," Alira said calmly, "is not just a wedding, it's a connection of body, blood, and soul." Jack sat frozen in his pilot's seat, his eyes wide. "Wait. Soul, yes," she replied. "In Eularian tradition, bonding is sacred. It's deeper than a ceremony. It creates a living link between two beings. A shared life." Jack scratched his head. "Can a human and an alien even do that?" Alira nodded slowly. "Rare, but not impossible. You're biologically compatible. The ancient machines confirm it." He blinked. "You ran tests on me." She smiled softly. "Just a small scan while you slept." "Don't be dramatic." Jack stood up and began pacing the ship's hallway. "I fix broken engines, steal spare parts, and run from bounty hunters. I'm not exactly bonding material for a princess." "You're more than that," she said quietly. "You saved me when no one else would. That matters." They had landed on a forest moon with no cities, only ruins. Alira led Jack through old stone corridors covered in moss and glowing vines. In the center of the temple, ruins, stood a strange metal platform, shaped like a circle with crystal lights embedded in the floor. "What is this place?" Jack asked. "This is where my ancestors bonded with their chosen," she said. "It's old tech, part machine, part tradition. It will accept us. If our intentions are true." Jack stared at the platform. "And if they're not?" Alira looked away, her voice turning cold. "Then it will destroy us both." Jack's heart skipped. "Okay. That's great. Totally normal." They stood on the platform together, side by side. Alira wore a simple cloth wrapped over her shoulder, glowing faintly with her natural energy. Jack wore the same greasy jacket he always did, patched at the elbows, worn from years of scavenging. A beam of blue light scanned them both. A voice echoed from the walls, deep and robotic, scanning. "Confirmed. One Eularian royal, one human non-citizen. Blood compatibility. Acceptable. Intentions sync." "Processing," Jack whispered. "What's that mean?" Alira whispered back. "It means it's checking if you're serious." He swallowed hard and looked at her. "I don't know what I'm doing," he admitted, "but I know I don't want to lose you." The machine beeped loudly. "Intention sync. Complete. Initiate bonding sequence." Light swirled around them, warm and strange. Jack felt a pulse in his chest, not pain, but pressure, like something reaching inside him. Memories flashed: his home, his parents, his first crash, his mistakes, and then Alira, alone in the pod, glowing and terrified. She saw his past, and he saw hers. Her lonely childhood, endless rules, betrayal by her council, the pod, the fear of never waking up again. They stood still as their souls brushed for the first time. Not with words, not with touch, but with raw emotion. She saw his kindness, his anger, his loyalty. His regret, he saw her strength, her sorrow, her rage, and her longing to be free. Then the light faded. The platform went silent. They looked at each other, eyes wide, breathing heavy. Jack spoke first. I saw everything. Elira nodded, her voice low. So did I. Jack stepped back, unsure that that wasn't just bonding. That was mind invasion. No, she said softly. It was truth. He sat down on the stone floor, hands shaking. I didn't know I carried so much weight. She sat beside him, placing a hand on his. Now you don't carry it alone. Back in the ship, Jack checked the scanner and gasped. Elira, he said. You need to see this. She walked over and stared at the screen. A message was broadcasting across 6 systems. Royal bonding. Confirmed, Princess Elira of House Synthra, bonded partner. Human male, Jack. Ren status, alive council claim. Denied royal claim. Activated, Jack looked at her. You're back in power, aren't you? She nodded slowly. Yes. But now the real war begins. What do you mean? The council won't accept this bonding, she said. They'll call it illegal. False. Dishonorable. But it's real, Jack replied. She looked at him. Her eyes fierce, which is why they'll try to erase us. Just then, the ship's alert chimed again. A new message came through, this one private. It was from someone named Nira. A name Elira recognized instantly. Her old handmaid, once loyal, once trusted. The message was short. Trembling with panic. They know. They're coming for you. There's a bomb on your ship. Get out. Now Jack's blood ran cold. Elira froze. He stood up fast, pulling her to her feet. Where is it? I don't know, she gasped. But if Nira is warning us, it's real. They rushed through the ship, scanning panels, pulling open storage. Time ticked fast. Then Elira found it. A small sphere, blinking red, hidden behind the medkit. Jack stared at it, breathing hard. We can't disarm it. Not? In time, she looked at him with wide eyes. Then what do we do? Jack grabbed her hand tightly. We fly, and we eject the whole panel mid-jump. But trust me, he said. You're not dying today, princess. Asterisk, the blinking. Red light on the bomb was getting faster. Jack's hands moved with urgency. Sweat dripping down his neck as he pulled out the wall panel from the ship's side. Elira stood behind him, holding a gravity wrench, eyes scanning every line and wire. Nira's voice still echoed in her mind. There's a bomb on your ship, get out. Now, Jack shouted. I found it. The casing's locked into the power fitty till blow. If we cut it wrong, Elira stepped forward, breathing steady. I've seen devices like this before. It's Eularian tech, old royal security. Bombs. Jack looked at her. Can you disarm it? No, she said, but I can help eject the power core with it. He stared at her for a second, then nodded. Okay. We time it with a short jump. We eject the panel during the dimensional pull. The energy from the jump should scatter the bomb into deep space. Elira's eyes flickered. And if the bomb goes off too early? Jack smirked. Then we won't need a wedding anymore. We'll be space dust. The Dustwalker roared as Jack hit the emergency hyperjump sequence. Elira held tight to the stabilizer rail as the ship shuddered and stretched through space. Jack shouted, 3-2 now. He slammed the eject panel switch, and the bomb flew out the side of the ship, spinning into the darkness. A bright flash followed a silent explosion, lost in the black. They made it. Jack slumped into his chair, panting. Note to self, no more. Bonding with royalty, Elira exhaled deeply. They tried to kill us right after the bonding. They won't stop, Jack said. You said it yourself. This is war now. Later that night, The ship drifted silently in a dark star lane. Hidden from sensors, Illyra sat quietly in the co-pilot seat, her silver hair glowing under the soft cockpit light. Jack handed her a warm drink pouch. "You okay?" She nodded, just thinking. Our bond is complete but without the ancient rites. Some in the Empire will call it invalid. They'll claim we faked it. Jack leaned back. "So, what's the plan?" "There's one place left," she said. Slowly, a forgotten world Zenthora. For there's an old AI temple buried there. It once served the royal houses as the final judge for sacred unions. He raised an eyebrow. "You want us to have a second wedding?" She smiled faintly. "I want it to be real for everyone, not just us." Zenthor 4 wasn't on most maps anymore, covered in ash storms and mountains of glass. It was a world shattered by old wars and forgotten alliances. Jack landed the ship. Near a huge stone arch buried in volcanic sand, alien statues surrounded the ancient steps, each one worn down by centuries of wind and fire. At the center stood a tall circular gate made of dark crystal. It hummed softly as they approached. Illyra walked forward and placed her hand on a stone plate. The ground shook, and a voice boomed through the air. "Identify participants." Illyra raised her head. "I am Illyra, first princess of House Zenthra." Bonded by blood to this human, Jack cleared his throat awkwardly. Jack Wren. Scavenger pilot, not a royal, but very involved. The ancient gate flickered with light. Cross-species bonding detected. Soul link confirmed. Initiate ceremonial seal. 2 rings of light formed around them, floating symbols spinning in. The AI voice continued. "To complete the rite, intentions must be witnessed. Speak now. Why do you choose each other?" Jack looked at Illyra, surprised. "I thought this was just a scan." She whispered, "The machine needs the truth." He took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I'm not perfect," he said. "I've run from responsibility, made mistakes. But I didn't run from her. She asked me to stand. I did. Not just to help, but because I wanted to." Illyra placed her hand over her heart. "I was raised behind glass walls. Told what to say, what to wear, who to marry. But Jack treated me like a person, not a symbol. I choose him because I trust him, because I believe in him more than anyone." The light around them surged bright, spinning faster and faster vows. "Accepted," the AI announced. "Seal complete." Then everything stopped. Illyra opened her eyes. Slowly her skin now shimmered faintly, with gold lines through her blue. Jack's chest felt warmer, stronger, as if a part of her lived there now. The bond had been made public, permanent, and undeniable. But peace didn't last long as they exited the temple. A distant sound echoed across the valley. Engines. Dozens of them. Jack pulled up the scanner. Ships 20 at least. Illyra looked into the dark sky. The royal lords. "They know." Jack clenched his fists. "Well, they're late to the ceremony." A small ship landed beside them. The door opened. Nira stepped out. The former handmaid, now disguised in mercenary armor. She spoke quickly. "They're surrounding the area. We have 10 minutes at most." Illyra nodded. "We're ready." Nira blinked. "You sound different." "I'm not just a princess anymore," she said, taking Jack's hand. "I'm a bonded queen. And he's my husband." They ran. Dust kicked up behind them as Jack. Illyra and Nira sprinted across the ash-covered plains of Zenthara. 4, above them. Enemy ships circled like hungry vultures, their engines roaring low and mean. Each minute that passed meant more troops landing, more danger closing in. Jack didn't need a scanner to feel the trap closing. "They're not trying to blast us," he said between breaths. "They're hurting us." Illyra nodded grimly. "They want me alive, not dead. They want to drag me back in chains too. Show the Empire I've been caught." Nira pointed ahead. "There's a cave up there, an old mining tunnel. It should give us cover. They ducked inside just as the first wave of drones flew overhead. Blades buzzed through the air, scanning the area, looking for heat signatures. Jack pulled out a portable signal jammer and slammed it onto the cave wall. It beeped to life and began distorting their position. Elira slumped against the stone, breathing fast and shallow. Her body was glowing again, lines of light tracing across her arms and neck. It looked beautiful, but Jack knew what it meant. "Hey," he said, kneeling beside her. "Are you okay?" She gave a weak smile. "I didn't think the full bond would hit me like this. The connection, it's not just spiritual, it's physical too. It's awakening something old in my blood." Jack frowned. "Is that good or bad?" She laughed. Softly, "Ask me in 5 minutes. Nira stood near the cave mouth, eyes on the sky. "They've blocked our ship," she said. "The Dustwalker is locked in a stasis field." Jack cursed. "So we're stuck." "Not completely," Nira replied. "I planted a back door in the palace's mainframe before I left. If we reach a secure signal tower, I can override the claim on Elira's life." Jack turned. "You can cancel the bounty." "I can do better," she said. "I can reactivate her royal crest with the bonding confirmed in the old temple. If I upload the crest into the Empire's core vault, her power becomes law. Not even the lords can undo it." Elira sat up. "But the only signal tower strong enough is on Carthan Prime." Jack's eyes narrowed. "That's their capital." She nodded. "The center of the Empire. And our only hope." Suddenly, the ground shook. An explosion rocked the cliff above. A chunk of stone fell, striking near the cave entrance, sending sparks and dust into the air. "They found us," Nira shouted. More explosions followed. Outside, armored soldiers in gold and black began moving in a circle. Blasters armed, scanners glowing. They had come to capture a queen. Elira's legs gave out, and she dropped to her knees, her skin glowing brighter now, her eyes flickering with energy. Jack rushed to her side. "What's happening?" "She's not just bonded anymore," Nira said, staring in awe. "She's activating like the queens of old." "What does that mean?" Jack asked. "It means," Nira said slowly, "her power is tied to yours now, and only you can steady it." Jack took Elira's hand, feeling the heat surge through him. Her mind reached for his like a wave of light. Flashes of memory, fear, longing and trust. Jack closed his eyes and whispered, "I'm here, I'm not leaving you, you're not alone anymore." The glow around her calmed. Shifting from gold to soft silver, her breathing slowed. Her pulse steadied. She looked up at him. "You saved me again." Jack smiled. "Yeah, I'm starting to make a habit of that." Outside, a commander shouted, "Surrender now, princess, and your human will be spared." Jack helped Elira too. Her feet, "Guess they haven't learned," he said. "We don't surrender." Nira threw him a small remote device. "I stashed a bike just outside the East Ridge. It's fast. Built for stealth. Take her and go. I'll draw their fire." Elira shook her head. "You'll be captured." Nira smiled. "Let them try." Before anyone could stop her, Nira ran out of the cave, blasting her way through the trees, leading the soldiers in the opposite direction. Jack grabbed Elira and led her out through the east side. They found the bike buried under a rock slab, sleek, black, hovering just above the ground. He helped her onto the back and hit the throttle. They shot into the forest like a streak of light, dodging branches and enemy drones. Blaster bolts hissed past them, missing by inches. Jack's voice was steady. "Hold on, Princess, we're going to Carthan." As they left the moon's atmosphere, Elira leaned her head against his back. "Jack," she said softly, "if this bond fails, if I lose you, you won't," he said firmly. "I'm with you all the way." And for the first time since she was locked in that cold royal pod, Princess Elira believed it. *. The sky above Carthan Prime was dark red, not because it Was night no? This planet never slept. It was red from the burning fires of the Empire's heart. The towers of power, the ships of war, the eyes of the lords watching, waiting, hunting. And in the middle of it all, a human and an alien queen flew straight into danger. Jack Wren tightened his grip on the hoverbike as they weaved through the clouds. Illyra sat behind him, her arms wrapped around his chest, her cheek against his back. He could feel her heart beat fast. Strong, alive. We're almost there, Jack said, looking at the map flashing on his screen. The vault tower is on the other side of the Capitol wall. Illyra lifted her head, her voice calm but serious. There'll be guards. Dozens, maybe more. Jack grinned. Good. I brought something for that a few hours earlier before landing on Carthon. Jack had made a call, a risky one, to an old friend named Maddox, a former rebel pilot, now a smuggler with a sharp tongue and even sharper weapons. Maddox had laughed over the comms. You bonded with the alien princess. Man, you've got style. Then he added, all right. Meet me at the trench outside the East Ridge Inn. Bring toys. Now, at the rendezvous point. A rusty cargo sled was waiting, covered in tarps. Jack pulled it open to reveal weapons. Explosives, power grenades, stealth field belts, and one very old, very illegal human assault drone. Maddox appeared from behind the stack, chewing on dried meat. You better make this chaos worth it. Loverboy Illyra nodded to him. If we succeed, you'll have a queen in your debt. Maddox raised an eyebrow. That's a new one. I'll take it. They had one shot. The royal crest, the symbol of Illyra's bloodline, was hidden inside a secure case. If uploaded to the Vault Signal Cortha ancient AI network of Carthanet would lock her royal title forever. No council vote. No fake trial, no erasure, just law, coded into the Empire's bones. But first, they had to survive, dressed in stolen guard armor. Jack and Illyra rode a maintenance tram through a back tunnel under the Capitol wall. Lights flickered, alarms echoed somewhere above. They had only minutes before the disguise codes expired. We go in fast, Jack said, loading a pulse pistol. I distract the guards, you get to the terminal and plug in the crest. Illyra gripped the small glowing case close to her chest. If I upload it, the Empire will know I live. Jack looked at her. You are the Empire now. They burst into the vault core hall, an ancient dome of glass and light. Metal pillars lined the walls and floating screens danced in the air. In the center, the input altar glowing with a golden flame. But they weren't alone. The Royal Council guards stood ready, dozens of them, armored in black and gold, weapons raised. Right? At their front stood a tall alien with silver eyes and a cruel smile. Lord Vale, head of the treasonous council. You came all this way, he said coldly, for nothing. Illyra stepped forward, holding the crest high. The law is older than your lies. Vale, let the machine judge me if I'm false. Let it erase me, but if I'm true, it will erase you, Vale sneered. You bonded with a human, Illyra, that breaks the sacred line. Jack stepped beside her. Then maybe it's time your line breaks. With that, he threw the first grenade. Smoke exploded across the room, and chaos followed. Guards rushed in. Jack moved fast, stilling Maddox's stealth belt, dodging shots, disabling two enemies with shock rounds. He fought like he had something to prove, because he did. He wasn't just her protector, now he was her partner, her husband, her shield. Illyra sprinted to the altar, dodging blasts, her feet light, her focus unshaken. She placed the crest into the port fingers, trembling, eyes glowing. The AI voice filled the dome. Royal crest recognized, bloodline match. Confirmed authority update. In progress. Vale roared. Stop her. He ran toward her, blade in hand, but Jack was faster. He tackled Vale mid-swing, both crashing to the floor. The two fought in the center of the Stormfist against Blade, rage against loyalty. Vale sliced Jack's arm, but Jack slammed his head into Vale's chestplate, cracking it. "I don't care about your titles," Jack growled, "but I'll die before I let you take her." Then a wave of golden light blasted from the altar, knocking everyone to the ground. The voice of the vault spoke again, louder than before. "Royal status activated. Princess Alira Zenthra is now Queen Alira, sovereign of Ularia." Everyone froze. The guards slowly dropped their weapons. Some bowed, others fled. Vale tried to rise, but Jack knocked him out cold with one final punch. Alira stood at the center of the light, crowned by the system itself, breathing hard, eyes wide, finally free. She turned to Jack. "You stayed." He smiled, despite the pain. "Of course I stayed. Someone's gotta keep the crown shiny." She stepped forward, placed her hand on his chest, and "Someone's got to rule with me." The golden light from the vault core still floated in the air. But now it wasn't just a signal. It was a declaration, a crown, sealed not by blood alone, but by choice, by love, and by one very surprised human who still had ash in his hair and a blaster burn on his jacket. Queen Alira stood tall beneath the pulsing lights. Her once tattered robe shimmered with power now, glowing with living symbols from the bonding. Her voice echoed through the chamber as the AI confirmed her rule. Status updated across all systems. Queen Alira of Ularia, reigning monarch, bonded. Consort, Jack Wren of Earth. Jack raised an eyebrow and looked at the screen. He leaned closer, squinting. Consort. He whispered, "That sounds fancy, but does it come with dental?" Alira turned toward him, her smile tired but real. "You're royalty now, Jack. You married into it." Jack blinked. "Hold on. Are we seriously married now? Like galaxy recognized and all?" Alira stepped closer, still glowing faintly. She looked up into his stunned face and said softly, "You took me as your wife, in front of the vault, in front of law, spirit, and stars." Jack scratched his neck. "Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't expect it to stick this hard." "You saved my life," she said, again and again. "You held me when I was weak. You fought for me when I was hunted, and when the world turned against us. You stood beside me." Jack smiled. His voice quieter now. "Didn't expect to get a queen out of the deal. But I'll take it." Outside the vault, ships circled cautiously. The signal had spread across the empire. Every screen now showed Alira crowned, bonded, and alive. The royal lords were panicking. The bounty had been erased, the law locked, and the uprising they feared had just begun, but something bigger stirred too across distant worlds. Young aliens saw Alira and Jack together, a queen and a human, bonded not by arrangement, but by trust, and they began to wonder what else might be possible now. Back inside the Capitol Tower, Jack sat on a silver bench near the main hall. His arm was wrapped in bandages, his face tired. But there was a strange peace in his eyes. Nira entered the room, her armor scorched, but her spirit alive. She bowed lightly before him. "The Queen wants you." Jack sighed. "I was hoping for a nap first. She also said she wants you clean," Nira added with a smirk. "You still smell like explosives." Later, Jack walked into a grand hall he'd never seen before. Red banners lined the walls, and silver guards bowed as he passed. At the far end stood Alora, her royal gown fitted, her crown simple but proud. Her expression softened when she saw him. He stopped at the steps and raised his eyebrows. "So, this is what being married to a queen looks like?" Alira laughed softly. "It's new for me too." He stepped up to her and held her hands. "I'm not royal, you know. I fix things, I make mistakes, I talk too much when I'm nervous." She leaned in close. "And I chose you anyway," Jack chuckled. "Well, then I guess I better learn to bow." "You already did," she said. The moment you stayed, later that night, on the palace balcony. Illyria stood in silence, looking at the stars. Jack joined her, carrying 2 cups of warm synth tea. He handed her one and leaned on the rail beside her. So what now? He asked. You rule a whole empire. And I still have a rusty cargo ship full of dirty socks. Illyria took a sip and smiled. You help me fix this broken empire. One law, one world, one heart at a time. Jack looked out at the stars. That sounds like a lot of pressure. She turned to him. Then we do it together, husband. He blinked, then smirked. You're really gonna keep calling me that? Why not? She teased. You took me as your wife, Jack Wren, without asking what it would cost. He leaned closer, eyes soft. I didn't care about the cost. She smiled. And now you're royalty. Jack groaned playfully. I miss being poor already. From far above, the stars shimmered gently. The Queen of Oleria and the human who chose her stood side by side, bonded not by war or wealth, but by will. Together, they had beaten betrayal, outrun bounty hunters, faced ancient laws, and rewritten the future of a galaxy that had never seen a union like this. Not of power, but of partnership. And somewhere in the universe, someone whispered, You really took her as your wife? And Jack answered, Yeah. And I'd do it again.